No matter where you register your domain or what domain registrar you decide to use, when you go to register your domain, I would suggest seeing if you can't get the .com version of whatever domain that you have in mind to purchase. The reason for that is, to begin with, .com is for commercial sites. It's not strictly necessary to get a .com if you want to set up a e-commerce site, or if you just want a website for your business. It's not strictly necessary to get a .com. There are other domain extensions or top-level domains available. However, I would still recommend to get a .com if at all possible. One of the big reasons for that is because usually when you tell somebody to come to your website or to go to, some website, it's kind of an instinctive, automatic, knee-jerk reaction that they just kind of assume it's a .com. In fact, I can't tell you how many times I've asked somebody to go to a specific web address and they just automatically assume that it must be www.something.com. You can tell somebody to literally go to a website like gotoassist.me and they're thinking www.assist.com. or maybe www.assistme.com, instead of actually going to gotoassist.me as just one example. If I said to you, hey, come by my webpage, it's Funk Pages, odds are you're going to immediately think funkpages.com. Unfortunately, it is funkpages.com. There are other domain extensions or top-level domains available that you could use. Some of them are not going to be an option. So for example, if you're not a university, you're not going to get a .edu. If you are not a government organization, you're not going to get a .gov. That being said, there are plenty of other extensions. There's .net, there's .tv, there's .org. I would really suggest for most people to stick with the .com, maybe go with the .net. There are some other appropriate top-level domain or domain extensions out there. Sometimes people will use something like a .us or a .app or a .io. A lot of those extensions are actually country codes. For example, if we take a look here, we'll see that .ac is Ascension Island, .au is Australia, .aw is Aruba, and we're not going to go through hundreds of different country extensions here, but just to give you an idea, there are more than a few country extensions, and we see here that .us is apparently commonly used by US state and local governments instead of .gov. So .us may or may not be available to a private citizen. I don't know offhand. Strictly speaking, if I'm not mistaken, if you're going to use a country's top-level domain, so .td for the country of Chad, for example, then either you or your business should actually be in that country. But I don't believe that that is very strictly enforced, if enforced really at all. It could be more of an issue later when you get an SSL certificate, if you decide that you want to get an extended validation domain certificate. And if you are using something like funkpages.th, which is the extension for Thailand, and you live in the United States, which is where I live, and I wanted to get an extended validation SSL certificate for funkpages.th, it might be a problem when they find out that I don't have a business address or a resident address in Thailand. I'm not too sure offhand, but that's not something that a ton of people are going to be doing, because getting a extended validation certification costs $200, $300, $400 a year, whereas you can just simply get a free SSL certificate or even buy one year to year for something like $50, $60, $70 a year. We'll talk more about SSL certificates at another time. If you don't already have a domain in mind that you want, whether you're going to use your name or whether you're going to use your business name, assuming that you do have a business name already. If you don't have anything in mind, like you're not trying to go out and register funkpages.com, which hopefully you're not, because I already own that domain. I already have that domain registered. But if you have no idea what you want to register, but you have some idea as to what the business is about, like gardening or interior design or painting, or maybe you have some basic theme ideas, such as maybe you're into gardening and landscaping, and so you're thinking to yourself, you want, kind of like a green thumb type of a vibe. You could just simply enter something into this LeanDomainSearch site to try to help generate ideas for domains that you might be able to go ahead and register. So just one random idea, just to use as an example, if I wanted to search for greener landscaping, it'll come back and it'll let us know what .coms, in this case, containing greener landscaping are available. Now, not a huge surprise, but somebody already has greenerlandscaping.com. So this site, LeanDomainSearch, is giving us a lot of other similar domains, although they're going to be a longer domain because they're going to use exactly what you're searching for and either add something in the beginning or add something at the end, just to give you some ideas as to what you might want to use. We see when doing a whois lookup on greenerlandscaping.com that it is already registered. There is some registrar information here. It was initially registered on June 22nd, 2018, updated March 5th, 2020, and that may have been when the registration lapsed, because when going to greenerlandscaping.com, it actually brings up this GoDaddy page letting us know that, hey, this is for sale. It can be a bit of a pain coming up with a domain idea which is actually available to be registered as a .com, because a lot of .coms are already registered and they are either in use or they're just parked. But one way or another, somebody somewhere has a huge number of domain ideas already registered to them. Therefore, if the .com isn't available, I would suggest trying .net. And if that's not available, maybe .info. But really, .com or .net are pretty much the two most common domain extensions, and of the two, .com is going to be the most desirable. Whenever you can, you want to have a relatively short domain and you want it to be a .com, because again, that's just how people think. You tell them go to Funk Pages and they're gonna, more often than not, type in www.funkpages.com. So if you don't have DNS set up to route the www, or if your extension is not .com and it's instead .net or .io or .something else, they're not going to end up reaching your site unless, of course, you registered multiple extensions, multiple domains, and just simply forward some domains to your main page at the .com or .net or whatever your main page happens to be.